Hello and welcome to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real-life stories of authors from around the world. Today we are talking to Isabelle Bryan from the United Kingdom, who has written a book called Sakola. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway, but we're going to find out more. Isabelle, welcome.
Hi, Matt. Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, now tell us, how do you pronounce the title for your book?
It's pronounced Sakola.
Sakola.
Yeah,
Sakola.
I
Okay.
know. It's in Lingala.
So, Isabelle, now you've written a book, but let's not
Mhm.
start there. We want to know all about you. Tell us,
Okay.
where were you born? Where's your heritage?
Well, my heritage is from the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. So that's where I'm from. But been living and working in the United Kingdom. And funny enough, English is not my first language. French is, but now I consider actually like myself to be totally bilingual, to be honest.
Amazing. I so wish I was bilingual. I'm learning Italian and it's very, very slow. So if French is your first language, does that mean you go on holiday to lots of French-speaking countries?
Yes, actually. I do, but they're more like second home. I mean, like especially Belgium, because DRC used to be a Belgian colony. So like Belgium, Brussels, and all this, especially cities in Belgium, they feel like a second home to me. But I also do go to France a lot, and I do love France. And my favorite place is the south of France, a place called Antibes.
Oh, I know. Cape
Oh,
d'Antibes.
I love it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, well, Isabelle, when did you first have an idea about writing a book? How old were you?
Oh my goodness, when did I first have an idea? So I've always had stories floating in my head, to be honest. So even before I wrote Sakola, I wrote poetry ever since a young age. I would write, I would look at people and I'll get stories in my head about people that would inspire me to write a song or a poem or a short story and so on. And you know what's even interesting? Because my current job actually requires me to write a lot as well in English. How fun is that?
Very good. So how old were you, Isabelle, when you wrote your first poem?
My first poem, oh gosh, I must have been about 12 or something around that. So yeah, I wrote my first poem. I can't really remember what it was, but I remember I had a friend that we decided we were gonna write some stories and I decided I was gonna write a poem. So yeah, so that
Very.
inspiration it's always been there. And actually I think like my father, my late father used to own a newspaper, so he used to love to write. So we are literary, I think, in my family as well. I think we do have that a little bit going through us, like writing.
Yeah. And so when you came to write your book, what was
Mhm.
the biggest obstacle inside yourself to writing your book?
Oh my God, my biggest obstacle was, I don't know, we all hear these voices in our heads like, you are not an author, you are not a writer. Um, why do you think you have something to say, to write, and who's going to read your book, anyways? So I think there was a lot of doubt, I have to say, I have to admit, within me about the book. But I think I recall as well, it must have been you. If it's not you, please correct me. But the first time we had, the meeting with PublishU, and you were saying that if you write, if you have something to say, and I said to myself, I mean, I didn't go looking for this story. I wasn't sitting down scratching my head, I need to write a book. It just was there. And there is also, as I believe, an underlying message within the story. So I just thought, why not? Let's go for this.
Very good. And you did the Publish You Writing My Book program. What
Yes, I
was it
did.
about the program that helped you the most?
I think what really helped me the most was to, I think it did give me the motivation, first of all, to kind of like finish the book, because I had some lines put here and there, but the motivation really was there, having those meetings regularly and also meeting other writers as well who were in the same situation as me. So I think it really gave me the boost, and also the structure, actually. Like, I have to say, like when we were talking about, putting up things like BCP and all that, and it really did help. It really did help put my book, together and structure it in a way that I feel quite happy about.
Yeah, great. Yeah, many people say the peer group of writing
Yeah,
with other people on the same journey
yeah,
is hugely
definitely.
helpful, and the step-by-step approach to creating the structure for your book. Well,
Mhm.
we'd love to know about your book. So your book is actually a novel.
It
It's
is.
it's a story of stories.
Mhm.
Tell us about the title, the main essence of your story is.
So yeah, so the title is Sakola. So Sakola is the family name of our heroine called Angelique, and really, it's as I was saying before, I look at situations and I draw stories out of them. And this one came from like identity, who we think we are, the inner person and the outside person, and what we believe to be truth. About ourselves and about the world around us. So, really, the story is about a girl's journey, Angelique, and I've wrapped it around some kind of fantasy narrative, some fictional narrative that straddles two worlds, the unseen and the seen, because to show the inner part and the outer part. And hopefully, when the reader reads it, then they will come to that place where I want them to be to see how both actually, the seen and the unseen, do shape us as human beings and in terms of who we become or who we are supposed to be.
Wonderful. It's amazing. I'm so excited by your book. And
Thank you, Matt.
what's the hope you have for your book, Isabelle?
Uh, well, the hope I have for my book, to be honest, what's the hope I have for my book? The hope I have is for people who read it, they can discern the underlying message within the book, what I'm trying to say through the journey of Angelique Sakola. And hopefully as well that they enjoy the story. I've had some people who said to me it was funny. Could be quite witty at part, but also a certain understanding about because I do draw in from my heritage because I'm from Africa. So the books takes you to Africa, it takes you to the United States, it takes you to the underworld, and you are in Argentina. So hopefully, I'm hoping that all kind of readers can find themselves within these fictional stories while they're enjoying themselves and also learning from the message I'm trying to bring out to them.
Yeah. So is this the sort of book we should take on holiday with us? To sit
Well,
by the poolside.
Well, I hope so. I mean, definitely, definitely. It's fun, it's lighthearted, but once you finish reading it, you do ask yourself some questions as well. I've had people coming to me and saying, "Oh my God, I didn't expect it to go this way," because everyone who picks it up, they think it's a certain type of story. And each person have come to me and said, "Well, I did not expect it to be that way." So it's fantasy, but is it really? There
Yeah.
you go.
There's always that little question, isn't there? Is this real or not? Is this based on real
Exactly.
events or not? And how do you feel now your book is published? I mean, it's one thing writing little poems and stories
Yeah.
since you were 12 years old, but
Mhm.
having a published book, I mean, that's
Yes,
really grown up, isn't it?
definitely. I think I was telling one of my colleagues, I think it's my best achievement to date. It's like for me, I don't know where I heard this from, but I felt a sense of relief as well because I I've had this story for a while, Matt. I think when you and I had a conversation, I told you it's been with me. I mean, I know this story in and out. It's here, it's there in my gut, and I feel relief that I finally brought it out because when there was I don't know where I heard this, but they were talking about when you go to the grave, this is where you can see dreams that were never fulfilled, books that were never written, inventions that never saw the light. And so at least when my time comes, I would know that I'm not gonna leave in a regret that what if I have published my book, or what would have happened. The best way to say it is in Spanish they say what if is el hubiera. They say el hubiera no existe. What if does not exist? So for me, it was a sense of relief, really. I've done it.
Yeah.
Whatever happens with it happens, but at least I've done it.
Yeah, I love that. What if does not exist? Yeah, there's no point in what if. There's no point in talking about it, is there? Because yeah, you either do
Yeah,
something or you don't.
yeah,
So, Isabel, what
definitely.
would you say to anybody listening to this broadcast? What would you say to them if they've got an idea in their minds about a book? What would your encouragement to them be?
I think my encouragement will be explore it, and I think any ideas we have, they're there for a reason. There are people who have ideas, people who don't have an idea. So if something comes to your mind and there is a book within you, explore it. And if you need help, and there are, for me, I did find help with PublishU, because sometimes, you have ideas, but you don't know how to bring it to pass. I remember watching a preacher talking about how he wrote a book, but he just put some things on paper and then he brought it to the publisher. The publisher asked him, "What is this?" He said, "That's my book." He said, "Well, you don't have a typewriter or a computer." So I think everybody needs some help, and that's why I'm quite grateful actually for the work that PublishU does and helping those everyday being like me, who have no publishing experience, or they are no author, but they feel like they have something in there and it has come out. And I would compare you to that. Was a midwife. You just bring it out of us, don't you?
Yeah, as a book coach, you are there drawing what's inside of people out.
Yeah, definitely.
As you know, Isabelle, I loved coaching you. I love coaching others, and we help over 100 people a year now to write the book that's inside them and enable them to publish it to a worldwide audience.
Definitely.
So, Isabelle, it's been great having you on the show today.
Thank you for having me
so much. And thank you to you all for listening to the PublishU podcast, featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author, please visit PublishU.com. And if you like this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye. Thank you, Matt.